G7 and why the French president invited these tech leaders because they want to be educated. At the same time, they want to get on the same page with the United States how they're going to deal with these AI companies. This is going to be a massive week because you have, of course, G7 going on in France. You have the World Cup ongoing. You have Anne Marie still basking in the
I just find that that's the best system for me. But if you wanted to wait until Tuesday or Wednesday to roll over, that is also okay. You just have to make sure by Friday you're rolled over because after Friday, the M contract won't trade anymore. So let's say you go long on the M contract for a swing trade, on Friday. Well, guess what? At 4 p.m., you're going to be taken out of your contract wherever it is. So just make sure at some point this week you roll over from the old contract to the new. There's a question here. Any thought about gold? We can take a look. Let me just see what happens with the overnight high first and figure out if we've got a potential to enter along here. And then we'll take a look at gold. Okay, so looking at the chart right now, taking out stops, taking out stops, taking out stops, red dot at the high. We're starting to get some resistance. Sellers are starting to step in. So now we're watching 76.03 to see if that becomes support. David says, why is it that sometimes when we take out stops, there is a stop indicator with a number, and other times it's just a dot? So the stops indicator, which is actually this one right here, the user gets to program it for how many contracts. Everything about Bookmap is completely programmable and individualized. So let me just look up my stops. Yeah. So the way I have my settings set up right now is that my aggregate threshold is 50 and my individual threshold is 20. So it's not going to show me a stops indicator if there's like less than 50 contracts that got stopped out there. And that's just because I don't want to see every little guy that gets stopped out for 2 contracts. That becomes too much information. So I keep my settings a little higher. So I only get the stops indicator when it's a large number of stops. That will also always correspond with a large green dot. And you can change your settings for the dots as well. So, everything is completely individualized. The way I've got mine set up is just what works for me. It's just this is the way it looks in a way that is actionable for me to execute trades. Auntie in the house, good morning to you. Aloha says it's not at 4 p.m. on Friday, it's at 9:30 a.m. Are you sure? I won't argue with you on it, but I think it goes till 4 p.m. on Friday, but you might be right. Not that I would know. I always roll over on Monday. So by the time we get to Friday, I've completely dropped that contract. I removed it. I'm not even looking at it anymore. So also real quick, as we watch the market push higher, we're seeing that sellers are starting to get in here. So we will need to dip back down at some point. Okay. That little click we just heard was another set of stops. So we are still taking out a few stops up here, but we will run out soon and come back down. And what matters is what happens at that overnight high. Do they turn that into support around 76.03? Okay. They turn that into support, then this market can keep going up for the rest of the day, for all we know. But if they don't, okay, if they come back down here and they can't turn that overnight high into support and they come back through the opening price, well, then they'll liquidate because they'll take out anybody that is going long right now. So if the buyers want to stay in control, they're going to need to stay above the opening price. To make it even more complicated, just for fun, that is also a weak reference now. So we left behind a little magnet pulling on it saying, hey guys, you should come back down through the opening price. There's stops down here to take out if you do. So I suspect that we're going to come back to this open and it's going to matter whether or not we can hold that as support when we do. And so you say to me, you say, but Charles, the market's going up and it's going straight and it's going so fast. And oh my God, I just have to buy the high. I just have to, because if I don't go long right now, I may never get another chance. The market might just keep going and going without me. And to which I say, good luck to you. You don't have to chase price just because it's moving in one direction very fast. What you want to do is you want to wait until you can get a good entry with good risk reward, or just don't worry about it. Let the market go make new all-time highs for all you care. You don't have to be in a trade. And this is one of those moments where you do not want to be buying the high. You want to buy the dip. And it may not dip right this minute. It may dip, 10 minutes from now, but you want to wait for the dip. And the patience to just sit and watch it go up and up and up and up and be, well, is it going to dip? And then when it dips, is this going to happen? The patience to just wait. That is your edge as a trader. FOMO, chasing, that's not an edge. That won't work for you over, 20, 30, 40 trades. But waiting for dips, waiting for confirmation of support after you get a dip, that will work for you over the next 20, 30, 40 trades. Even if you have fewer chances to trade, even if you miss some chances, because sometimes the market just does go straight. It's still better to always wait for the market to come back into your order rather than to chase price. And this morning is a textbook example of that. There's a question, how do you know it's support? It changes color. So again, there's a lot of different things that we have to look at. It's not so simple as like, oh, if we have, a green dot, when the market touches the overnight high, we have support. It's not quite that simple. We look for changes in tempo. So if the market is moving fast, does it slow down? So for example, look at the resistance we just had up at the high. When we were moving up to it, so from here to here, it was very fast, right? Boom, 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 boom. But then when we got to it, what happened? The market slowed down and just started going sideways. That's a sign of support or resistance, a change in tempo. Okay. The next thing we look for is a change in volume. It's a little early in the morning to really be recognizing that. But as you go throughout the day, you start to notice where volume tapers off. For example, right there at the low, volume tapered off. Again, it's too early in the day to really see it, but it did. We stopped bringing in new volume there. That's a sign of support. Okay. And then the volume dots is another sign. But that's all just based on whatever settings you have on your software. Some people have a big green dot right there at the little low we just made. I don't. So you got to look at multiple different things to give you an idea of whether you're getting support or resistance. One more thing that I like to look at, which we haven't talked about yet today, is a market internal. It is the tick chart. So this is not a tick chart. This is the tick chart, ticker symbol, TICK. It is the NASDAQ tick. And basically what that is telling us is in this moment right now are more stocks in the entire NASDAQ, okay? Or sorry, in the entire NYSE, the New York Stock Exchange. Are they going up or are they going down a tick? Are people buying stocks or are they selling stocks in this moment right now? And so again, if you pull back down into an area where you're expecting to see support, and then when you get there, those ticks start to bounce, well, that's buyers stepping in. So if you take all these different things, all these different confluences, and you put them together, you're watching for volume dots. You're watching for you're listening for the sound on the volume pressure imbalance, right? You're watching the volume taper off. You're seeing support in the ticks. If you combined all of this stuff together, you could have a very high probability of being right if you see support or resistance. Okay. Now, in none of this is instant. You got to practice. You got to do it over and over and over again and create, the skill of recognizing support and resistance. But once you do, it works like clockwork because it's always the same thing. Everything the market ever does is always the same. It pushes to a new level and it either spends time there and brings in volume there, in which case it keeps going, or it pushes to a new level and it doesn't, in which case it turns around and comes back down. So that's what we're looking at right now when we talk about the upper end of the range so far this morning and the opening price. We opened, we pushed up. If we can stay up here, if we can spend time and bring up volume, if we can keep going sideways up here, well, then the next move will be up. But if we can't, we need to come back down to the opening price. And then when we come down to the opening price, we either find support there and then bounce and turn around and come back up, or we're going to need to liquidate lower and look for support at a lower level. So this is what's always happening all day, every day. And sometimes it happens very slowly, and you can just sit there and watch and wait. Is it support? And sometimes it happens instantly, and you get 2 seconds to make a decision. That we can't control. That's all the randomness of markets. We can't control if the support or resistance will hold, and we can't control how long it'll stay there or how many times it'll poke into it. But we always know what to observe because what we're looking at is the same every single time. We're looking at volume, we're looking at time, we're looking at liquidity, and we're looking at the ticks. And when we combined all those things, we absolutely have an edge. At that point, all we need is the patience to wait until we see something that looks bullish. So right now, we are holding support at the halfback, which is a potential support level. You see the buyers there, you see the buyers there. That is bullish to see. Not bullish enough for me to go long here, but it means we might be making another poke to the upside in the next 3 minutes. If we come back down again and we don't have support, then we'll flush to the open. Okay. Now somebody's saying it's on 1 p.m. on Friday. Holy moly, can somebody please Google this? When do you have to be out of your M contract? Is it pre-market? Is it the middle of the day? Is it the end of the day? Or you know what? Let's just all have rolled over before Friday and let's not even worry about it. Like I said, I always roll over on the first day of the week. I don't care about the amount of volume on one or the other contract. I just always roll over. I'm only trading, 3 contract sizes anyway, lot sizes. So the amount of volume on the U contract doesn't matter at all. I'll get a fill. There'll be plenty of liquidity for me to get filled in my little old 3 contracts. You know? There's a question, what are my settings for the volume dots? I can pull that up quick. Little volume dots. Smart clusters. My level to apply the bars is 52. My transparency is 41 and my size is 40. Minimal display volume, 32. Minimal trade size, 4. And then you say, Charles, are these the magical levels? Did you figure out the exact perfect settings? Nope. Didn't do any of that. Just opened it up, pushed the little bars up and down, tweaked it a little bit like this, a little bit like that, looked at the chart. I said, yeah, that makes sense. Now it seems clear, that the green volume dots are support and the red volume dots are resistance. Okay, cool. And that was it. And I never looked back. And then from that day till now, because I've stared at the same software the same way every day over and over again, my brain has learned to recognize the different behaviors. So, I don't necessarily think there's a perfect right setting that you have to have the numbers a certain way. but you just have to pick one and stick to it. And then let your brain learn pattern recognition looking at the chart with those settings. So speaking of which, we just got a big green dot. Was it on a dip? No, it was on a rip. So we just took out some stops. And not only did we see the green dot and hear the clicking noise for that second, we see that somebody got stopped out for 144 contracts. Sucks to be that guy. And the momentum to the upside continues. If he got stopped out, there's somebody else with even more size ready to get stopped out above that. And so the market's going to poke up, take out that stop. Still too early for me to enter along. This is also a moment where I would even be willing to put a stop sell order below the low of the day because we are bringing in so many buyers here that if we finally poke up and take out that last set of stops that needs to be taken out to the upside and we come back down and we can't turn the overnight high into supports, we're going to flush. So even if I don't really feel like I can get long, I could put a stop sell down there so that when it comes back through, I'll be short because maybe it holds the support and it doesn't come back through, in which case I never get a fill and the market keeps going up. But if it doesn't, it's going to liquidate. And I can recognize that behavior because I recognize the move up right now is more shorts covering. There is some buying, so it could keep going, but it's more shorts. Getting taken out. Sucks to be you. Yep, and there'll be another set as we spoof this liquidity right here at 60, 76.20. There'll be another set of stops right there. Wait for it. Wait for it. They want those stops. Gotta have it. The demo trader says, hit the like button for Charles and Bookmap. Do it to it, you guys. We'll be leaving in 10 minutes. And the quality of the analysis over the next 10 minutes will be based on the likes. So right now we got 113 people hanging out, but only 30 likes. I'm going to assume that means most of you hate me. Why do you hate me? I'm just here trying to help. Nope, haven't taken out those stops yet. We need another poke. Oh my God, Charles is going straight up. What do we do? We wait for a dip as long as we got to wait. We can now start watching the area around 64.14 for support. That was support the last time. So if they can hold that this time, it's a confirmation. But really, the better entry for a long here is at the overnight high. And I get it. I know that right now it doesn't feel like that's going to happen. It doesn't feel like it's going to come back to the overnight high. But just you wait. If on the way up, we're just taking out stops, which is what we're doing, we don't know how far it's going to go. It's going to go until it's taken them all out. But when it's done, we know it's going to come back. So at the very least, it'll come back to 60 or 76.14, if not probably all the way down to 76.02. We'll be watching for buyers. For now, we let them just keep poking up until they've taken out all the stops they want to take out. There's a question here. Where do we get basic learning videos for Bookmap? Well, you're in luck because Bookmap actually has really good education on the website. So you go to bookmap.com and you go to education. And then getting started is obviously the first course. But each one of these courses, these are really great because the way they set them up is it's a bunch of short little lessons. So each lesson is only like 3 minutes long. And so you just watch it, watch through it. If you don't understand it, if at the end you're like, I didn't quite get that, just watch it again. It's 3 minutes. You just keep watching it until you understand the concept. And then you just work your way through all these different ones. And by the time you get to the end, you'll be very, very knowledgeable on Bookmap. And like I said, they've got a ton of different categories in there. So you can learn all sorts of different stuff. And it's free. So why not?
The volume on September contracts to be, yeah, it's not there yet. I would probably say another week and we'll start to roll over to September contracts with volume. Let's see. An economic crisis is unfolding across the United States as millions of Americans cannot find jobs. It's well beyond 2008 financial crisis levels. Interesting. I think it's a perfect storm by a very high level of immigration, followed by AI.
I don't even use an agency anymore. What? How are you running ads? Oh, I started using Mega AI. It creates the strategy, launches the campaign, and optimizes.
Selling cover calls if I can. Yeah. Very smart, because moves done. Nasdaq, small little top tick, no shorting. By the dip. Interesting. Interesting. I just saw this tweet is an interesting way to look at stuff to someone who's facing losses. Any money that you lose following your system will eventually come back to you. Any money you lose breaking your rules is gone forever, never to be made back. The market will always collect what it's owed. Interesting. It's a good way to put it. Follow your system. It is, yeah. Hoping for a little SPX pullback to sell some puts. There you go. I'm waiting for volume here. We can now negate this, go to the next 50, which is right here. We've at about 700 or so. The S&P is pretty much doing the same thing as NASDAQ. The range right now is 76.22 and about 76.10 overall, though. My day is by any pullbacks we see until we roll up high. That is it. That is it. Going to be a big week with Take Profit Trader, man. I'm giving out accounts, taking payouts myself. I'm going to start copy trading again this week. See if I can make some big bucks. One thing I thought about is how retail traders usually have a system but don't necessarily understand their own system, or even that they have a system that can work. Yes, and they apply the system too much. They're looking for too much. I think the average retail trader looks for way too many opportunities in the market. 1 to 2 trades a day. Massive reds coming off. There's a quick defense of the 700 with volume. Quick defense of it. Still defending the 50. It's time to trade September contracts. I think that yeah, it is showing September contracts. Yeah, but the volume still hasn't switched over yet. Still haven't switched over yet. $30,740.
The location of the phone can now be.
What accounts do I go for the TPT? I'll be honest. I usually enjoy the 50s or 75s, but lately I've been having a lot of success with 150s. I think it's because I've got the way I keep the same risk when I'm building the bumpers and building the patent evals. I keep just about the same risk I do with the 50 or 75s. I think that's why I've been enjoying the 150s lately. I have just a lot more room, a lot more wiggle room to breathe. As long as I don't turn up the risk. Now, you size up to 150s and you start sizing up your position sizing, it's really no difference. You're just going to blow the accounts just as fast, if not faster. So I've been playing the 150s the past couple of months.
Stop by 73. Top 5.
Now, great. Even when I do blow accounts, it takes me forever to do it. And I keep accounts open way longer. A lot more consistent payouts. It's been fun. It's been exactly what I needed after January and February. So I've been liking the 150s. So you say no volume for September yet? Well, there's still volume on September. It's just it hasn't really switched over from the June contracts, which I'll probably do pretty soon.
Sell 22.
There we go. I'll make off of the high volume bottom, mind you, off of the 50 Fibonacci. And then already a 100-point bounce. Beautiful stuff. The 3 C's tied in with the 50 Fibonacci is working pretty dang well. I'm gonna have to make a YouTube video with the combination of the two. Great stuff, man. Great stuff. Shorting. No shorting. Okay. How you doing? Morning.
Stop sell 48. Stop sell.
Love your work. Thanks, Benjamin. Appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for being here. Make sure to share the stream. Got to get people watching, man. Got to get people watching. There's people with a lot worse haircuts than mine. With thousands of people watching their streams. I get like 80. I need a purr. Yeah. NASDAQ is now stuck after the 50% bounce, but that is now two 50% bounces that worked out really, really well. That's because we're looking for a call out. It's not going to work. There you go. Yeah.
Stop sell 21. Stop sell.
What's up? How you doing? Good morning. Back after a long time. Hope all is well doing with YouTube. Thanks for being here. Yeah, I just noticed the lag on the YouTube stream is quite low. It's almost instant. Only about 2 seconds behind. Beta behavior. You know what else is beta behavior? Shorting the market. Another bottom wick off of the 50 Fibonacci. Right on up, baby. Right on up. That's all I'm doing. About 720. ES is about to absorb, it appears. Still haven't had a lot of crazy volume spikes other than the 50 Fibonacci one here and the one back over on 940. He wants her to be here back here. Yeah, that's about right. That's about right.
Stop by 32. Stop by.
Gold is still defending the major macro level that we talked about last week. And now extending up. Once it clears the 4385.1, we'll be targeting the 4507 for any kind of swing trades. Silver's doing the same, 3-time bounce off of 63.16 and going. They're going to be targeting 74.44 under high volume 3, which is good stuff. NIX heading back down to 1523, and oil is about to trigger the bounce at 78.97. Coming down. In fact, I'm going to put alert that big. Whereas NASDAQ is just
Stop
a
by
couple of
30
potatoes
minutes.
away.
Stop by.
Just a couple of potatoes away. I think I got with 7 points there. Why am I getting the sense we're about to rocket? Because NASDAQ is insanely green and the market's buying up everything. No shorting. There's something hitting the tape here. This thing is fluctuating. Some sort of news event is hitting the tape. This candle's a little shaky. Other than trailing stops, do you use any Fibonacci to put profits? I do not. Although I have been tracking the 50, obviously, but I don't use them for booking profits. SpaceX announced they have raised $85.7 billion in their IPO. I believe SpaceX options start on Wednesday.
Stock sell 27. Stock sell.
Still coming off.
Stock buy 20. Stock buy.
I feel like y'all are super quiet today. If you made $1,000 an hour and work 24/7, 365, it'd take you 115,000 years to make a trillion. It's crazy. I know the long term we're waiting for a massive correction, but at what point do we just decide that isn't coming? I just can't see this thing ever getting back down to low 20,000s. Well, I see your point. I see your point. Another bounce. I mean, look at the daily chart. We've all looked at this thing a billion times. The market is doing stuff it's never done before. It's doing directionality has been doing stuff they've seen. But I mean, look at this market. This is the monthly chart. Things were very bullish from, the GFC crash up until 2019, which was here. But then something entirely different took over, volume wise and liquidity wise, after that crash. This little, the gigantic crash of coronavirus, which was here. Something entirely different took over. And now we're putting on literally vertical moves. And this one is as vertical as you could possibly get. Literally. Look at the look at the 2 monthly candles. That's as vertical as you can possibly get in 2 months. Will we get a correction back down? I have no idea. The market has gone to such a large degree is that the market can drop 50%. We can have a 50% Great Depression's 1929 style market crash and still be back to 2023 levels. In order for us to come back down anywhere close to what we saw in coronavirus, we'd have to crash.
Top sell. Top sell.
So I don't know what to expect from here. The market is always going to have big pullbacks every 10 years, 5 years, whatever. It always happens. We had a nice little pullback in 2015. We had another one in 2018. We had another one in 2020. We had another one in 2022, 2023. We had the big sell-off in this year, 2026. I mean, it happens. 2008, 1999. So we always get these big pullbacks, but we have rocketed to such a degree that it's going to require a monumental historic sell-off, a life-altering, economically changing sell-off to get us back down to levels we saw 3 years ago. And that's the key. That's the conundrum that we are in, is that we've gone straight up now for 6 years. Do we continue to go straight up for years? Is this just the new norm? Or do we have a sell-off like we've never seen before? Something that's going to change the history books. That's pretty much what we're faced now. Either continue to go straight up every day forever, or experience a market crash the likes of which we've never seen before. So the question that goes through my mind is that with this new historic bull action that we've never seen before, do we get the new historic bear action we've never seen before? Does one come with the other? That I don't know. All I can say is invest, buy stocks, no shorting unless you get a very, very strong reason.
Stock sell 21. Stock sell.
Man, this market's boring now. We had a bunch of fun at the open, but this is just boring. Market's only been open for 45 minutes. I feel like it's been open for 2 hours. Buy shares, stocks for the low. Yep, 100%. SPSCX is setting up for the long. Yes, sir. In the next 12 months, we're going to see a lot of volatility to SpaceX, and then probably a generationally changing buy opportunity of which I will take advantage. And of course, the other option is that SpaceX continues to rocket all day, every day for the next 10 years, and will never pull back.
Top
All I know
bell
is when all the
51.
forced selling starts to
Top
kick in,
bell.
not forced selling, I guess, but the when the lockout period ends is when start to see some profit taking. That's what I'll buy.
Dive deeper on your desktop. Review on the go with the app.
Exit. 7613 to yes. NASDAQ is holding right here. I've got an alert set for oil. When they start dipping down, they almost got it that time. Got a couple more points and we'll get it. RTY is already blasting off to new all-time highs. Gold, beautiful.
Top
downfall.
bell 21. Stop sell. Stop sell 52. Stop sell.
RTY is below Sunday gaps open on the session. Nice. Very important price action. Only reason SpaceX doesn't tank is the stocks float. They should be down 80% with 18 billion value. Yeah. Yeah. But markets don't go off of valuations. I mean, look at Nvidia. Nvidia has been rocketing for years now. And of course they are beating their expectations every earnings, but It's all about future valuations. What can it do in the future? Three point shop on Q. Yeah, right now the price action is pretty dang tight, pretty small. We had a beautiful open, but right now it's just choppy. I was talking SpaceX this weekend with someone at a barbecue, and he was upset that Elon made so much money with public solutions that everyone should be able to get part owners. Didn't understand why I was laughing. You know what this breakdown argument of all this stuff is?
Top
On
down.
how billionaires shouldn't have this much money. Show me any other opportunity where 4,000 plus average individuals can become millionaires overnight. Not to mention countless others. So I don't care if he's worth 3 trillion. If he's doing this good to the economy and creating jobs, allowing the average people to become millionaires, allow you to be deep in the heart of Africa and still be able to get internet. If I could watch a YouTube video in the middle of Africa, I'm okay with it. Now, am I okay with politicians being absurdly rich? Nope. Anyway. Did I see the video of a woman bungee jumping in Brazil? I did see that. It's horrific. I feel like there was a lot of breakdown and processes for that to happen, though, from the people watching it happen to the people going them off. You know what the thing is? There's people watching. I guarantee you, at least one person there saw that there was nothing attached to that woman, but they didn't want to say anything because they didn't want to look stupid if they were wrong. That's human nature, man. It's human nature. I used to love it that I read about his human humanity, some scary stuff telling people like that having such a swing relations. Yeah. Now that we watch on YouTube in Africa, maybe that's my teenage on a safari tour. There you go. I think leadership jobs need to be at least high enough compensation to attract talented individuals for our ability to give up private lives. 100%. But the politicians, man, no value add, leeches on society. Oh man. How did everyone not say something to I said exactly? Like how did not someone speak up to be like, hey, maybe we should hook up a bungee to our feet. Wait till SpaceX comes to a weekly demand buy and money leaps with 80 point delta. Forget about it. Yeah, buddy, I'm with you. I can't wait. Hey, buy your kids SpaceX. The best thing you can do. Forget about Christmas presents.
So, sweet fire.
That's why I'm bungee jump. Yeah. I'll jump out of a plane, but I ain't bungee jumping. There's no way. There's not enough margin of error there. Too small. Nice little bounce on NASDAQ, still bottom wicking, there. Volume, kind of weak volume, meh. SPX is cheaper than Christmas presents. Yeah, buddy, I'll be looking. Buy as much as I possibly can.
Stop sell 29. Stop sell.
$5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, whatever you can swing it. And never stop buying. I was on a work call since 10 a.m. I don't think I missed an entry on ES. Yeah, it's been pretty tight. We have the beautiful open shake and bake, which is awesome. And now it's very, very slow, very, very tight. You didn't miss much. We have a very robust week for volatility though. Triple witching, F1C, shortened holiday week, SpaceX. So we have a lot going on. There's plenty of opportunity. Speaking of too small, I took a 1 micro entry on the retest 1014 Kevin 1022, which I think is 3. Nice, Jay. Nice. 2026 Stanley Cup champions. Nice. Is NHL and the NBA the same weekend? They're finals. Interesting. That's just me personally. I'm not a sports guy, so I'm sure somebody knew about that. How many days before Iran violates the ceasefire? 48 hours. Too much too fast. Yeah, so too much too fast after an incredibly large move up, gap up like this. Yeah. When you bounce back up the first time bungee jumping, you peak and get that weight. It's really cool. Everyone should try it. No, I'm good. Because that first time that there's no rope on your feet and you see that ground coming really fast is the time you realize that I bungee jumped one time too many. This was a bad idea. Splat. Good. NFL gets higher ratings on average Thursday night than NBA game finals. Yeah. I don't know anybody who watches NFL anymore. That's the weird thing. Like none of my adult male friends watch any NFL or sports for that matter. Of course, obviously you're gonna buy it. So you're gonna hang out with people that are like you. And if you're a sports watcher, it's like you're gonna hang out with sports watchers. I guess that's biased, but is it too late in the day for too much too fast? No. Right now, the price action is pretty terrible, though. I'm not really interested in doing too much at the moment. A couple of high volume bottom licks here, but it's very slow. I think a lot has to do that. I've got a lot of irons in the fire. I just don't have time to dedicate. My kids are out of the house and I'm home and retired. I'll watch more sports. Well, that's funny enough you said that, Steve, is that Netanyahu just announced that he's going to be meeting with Trump to oversee the deal with Iran. So there is some truth to that, unfortunately. Vix is under 16. It is. Vix got crushed today. Is this just absorption? I think it's just range bound. It might be. I mean, we probably have a touch of buyer's exhaustion after such a big move up, but it is what it is. I watch my kids compete now, but I play fantasy football with a group of all friends. So I have to say, oh yeah, 100%. I have doubleheader on Saturday with my kids. Is my hero working? I don't have access. I'll get access back tomorrow. So I was in communication with SpotCam. I finally get it back tomorrow. I'm going to add a little SPCH to my 2X all SpaceX. There you go. Speaking of old and retired, I started terminal leave today after 22 years. Very cool. It's your MOS or AFSE. You go over some valuations for SpaceX. I don't know what, I don't follow too many fundamentals like that. I'm a very simple trader. None of my short-term trading or swing trading has to do with fundamentals. Honestly, my investments, I don't even look at fundamentals. I'm looking at the spider. Now they are saying that they could see that Elon has said he would be surprised if SpaceX did not hit $1 trillion in revenue by 2030, which is in 4 years. Now, every single time people have doubted the man, he has proven them wrong. Tesla, SpaceX, PayPal, Twitter. I mean, everything in between. So, I mean,
Stop sell 20.
how can you go
Stop
against
sell.
Air Transportation Board? Nice. Very cool, Crucio. Very cool. Well, congratulations. Congratulations. What's your next step? Are you going full? You going to airport? You gonna retire, enjoy some golf course? You're gonna go get yourself a private sector job? Start your own new business? Elon says a lot of things that delivers just 5+ years after he says it will. Should be did by our duty. Yep. Yep. I will be, like I said, man. Once I start the DCA process, it'll never stop. I'll be putting at least $1,000 a month in for the rest of my life. Once I start.
Stop by 23. Stop by.
Secreto del móvil que apuesto a que no conocía. Si tu teléfono está lleno, no compres almacenamiento extra. Abre esto. Con un solo clic, analizará tu almacenamiento, eliminará fotos y contactos duplicados y comprimirá los vídeos más pesados. No compres almacenamiento extra. Descarga AI Cleaner gratis ahora.
Happy birthday. Thanks for the volume. Thank you for the stack of 30 magazines.
My wife wants me to sell our lake property for education in a couple of years. I love her. Nice. There you go. Imagine what the stock would be worth. Like, let's be on Mars. Man, there's so many applications. Think about the future of cell phone technology. I mean, that's the thing, man. I'm thinking within 10 years, we're not even going to have cell phone towers anymore. Like, we're not even going to have these primitive cell phones that are relying on line of sight with cell phone towers. That's number one for infrastructure, communication infrastructure in the world. Global communication at the drop of a button. And then you have everything else: military application, industrial application. How do you monetize Mars? Sounds like the biggest financial black hole ever. I don't think there's a way to monetize Mars in our lifetime or even our kids' lifetime. We have too much red tape in the government, or anything else for that matter, to monetize Mars with our current technology. In my personal opinion, that have no education or formal training on any of these matters. Now the question is, what happens in 2028 when we get a new president? When Trump leaves the office and we are officially done with Trump forever? What happens? Do we go back to what we had for the past 4 years? Do we go a completely new direction? Do we even have a country at that point? Tax the aliens? Yeah. I hope the aliens have enough cojones to not act. Would it be better to spend that money building infrastructure in the oceans? Yeah. Data centers in space are cheaper than on land. Google Anthropic already with deals. SPCX is an absolute buy. Yep. I am euphorically bullish. That's my sex. How do you guys become profitable in trading? I cannot see how to be profitable for real. Finishing a CE degree to see what that takes.
Stock fell 41.
Congratulations, man.
Stock
I hope. I say, man, you're probably older than I am, much more higher rank than I am. So, sir or sergeant, congratulations. How do you become profitable in trading? Well, the obvious answer to that is that you need a system. You have to have a system in trading. You have to have a mechanism to determine entry and exit consistently, right? But by far and large, the biggest part of trading is the fact that the retail trader approaches trading from the get-go. They are on the wrong side. From the get-go, they are at a disadvantage. They think of trading, and this is my next podcast. They think of trading as the wrong thing. They overtrade. They think there's way too many opportunities than there actually are. They are unable to control their emotions. The dopamine part of things that we're going to talk about with Mrs. Butts. I mean, there's so much to it that puts you at a disadvantage before you're even out of the gate. Before you even get in the car and turn on the engine to go trading, you are already losing. Once you figure all that out and do less, trading is not all that difficult. It's still incredibly hard, but it's not as difficult as we make it out to be. So yeah. Does Mars have rare earth metals? Every single 5-minute candle is bottom. Like, do we about to pump? Look like it. What if aliens are socialists? That would be hilarious. That would be hilarious. I'm trying to figure out at start, but I can't. I hope I get better by the years. Well, come join the community. Hang out here with us. Tell your friends. I don't know how long you've been watching the OM stream, but if this is your first time, welcome. I approach trading a lot differently. It's the reason why I don't have a lot of followers, because I'm not sitting here screaming Lambos with gold chains and perm haircuts, helicopters and crap. I do things very boring, which is 1 to 2 trades a day at the most. I'm looking for high quality, high volume entries And I'm looking for small nibbles every day, not gigantic wins. I'm not posting $50,000 profits or $100,000 payouts. I'm posting $2,000 payouts, $5,000 payouts, $200 payouts. And I do things very slow. So I do option trading. I do option trading. Communist zombies. Features are better entry to learn the ropes. No gold chains, I'm leaving. There you go. This is my first stream. Nice, Zen. Nice, Zen. Appreciate you, buddy. Well, thank you for joining. How'd you find us, by the way, if you don't mind? I'm curious if I've got 114,000 followers on YouTube, but I'm curious, like, does YouTube recommend my live streams on their homepage? So, like, did you find me like on recommended home stream or what? Trying to figure out, like, do I need to advertise the live streams? Do I need to pay some money to advertise? Like, I don't know. How much does a data center cost? Can one really be built? All right, here's an answer for you. So my brother-in-law is a concrete engineer. So he goes around and builds large concrete infrastructure like football stadiums, sewage treatment centers, data centers. His last contract was $30 billion for a data center in Louisiana. And it was like something crazy large, like insanely large building, something you can't even fathom. I clicked the wrong video and that's what we found. That sounds like fate, Leo. That was the concrete. No, that was the whole contract. But his portion of the concrete obviously less, but that was just his contract. But they have to, when you do that stuff, you've got to tie into the sewage treatment facilities to process the toxic water. That's what they have. They have to use clean water, cool the data centers, and have to be processed. Waste.
Top cell.
So you have to tie into sewage facilities for sewage treatment with these data centers. And that's what he does. He does all the concrete, he does all the infrastructure tying into the sewage lines, building the sewage lines. I watched all the podcast titans of tomorrow and Chart Finance. Someone just popped up after many months. Nice. I came from 3 a.m. scrolling on YouTube. Beautiful. You don't have a Lambo or gold chains, but you do have lots of eggs. Yep. And I do have lots of land. It's a Lambo. Actually, we sold eggs to an individual from California. She last week she drove up the driveway, heard her husband get out of the car to buy our eggs, and she immediately, first thing she said out of her mind, "Are y'all selling your house?" No, why? She's like, "This is the best view I've ever seen in my life." I was like, "Yeah, welcome to Alaska. Go back to California. Respectfully, go back to California." I found you because I Googled a question, one of your Reddit threads. Grateful it popped up. Nice, Andy. Appreciate you. Get off my lawn, yeah. Good for Germany. Land is king, yeah. Where can we access your podcast? I'll get you the link to it. It's on Spotify called Making Millionaires. I've been on a hiatus for content creation because I've been insanely busy, but now that softball's over, baseball's over, football's over, at least temporarily, I have way more time. Not to mention I thoroughly, I want to get back to it, so I'll get you a link. There you go. There's a link to it in the YouTube chat. First day of the pro account. What's up, Math? Very cool. Congratulations, buddy. Go slow. Welcome. 30,735 NASDAQ. Very, very boring price action. Right now, we're not doing a lot of trading out of it. I have family in Canada living on Lake Erie, Toronto. Not everybody's doors. That's going to buy their homes. spaces have acted. That's why the data centers go. It's not cold. It feels like it's cold because there's nothing out there. I like it. Thermal mass. There's no thermal mass. out there
Sell quick.
for energy.
Stock sell.
Very cool math. Congratulations, buddy. I love the MNQs. Keep it up. Is it me or his volume have not been that? Nope, you're 100% right now. Well, this last week was fantastic. Today, we've had a couple of minor volume spikes here that have resulted in clear bounces, but scalpers day to day, nothing crazy. The volume has been pretty light. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Is Iran volatility finally gone? I don't think so.
Stock by 21. Stock by.
There you go. That's right. I'm writing a dissertation on verbal content transmission with AI DBA in Switzerland for trading and other creating high intensity jobs. Nice. If you need any voice acting, let me know. I'll voice contact for you. A little more boring day. Wow, man, this is, we had a beautiful open and it's kind of flat. Still bullish though. I'm shorting. Never short a dull day. That's why I love your work. Oh, cool, Betty. Appreciate you, buddy. Appreciate you. $30,743. All right, I'm back. You don't need no stinking shorts. Yep. Yep. Still going up. Never a short a dull market. Think about what we've seen here. If you're someone who's looking for a short position, think about this. We just blasted higher 1,000 points overnight. Insanely bullish overnight session. We are now an hour and a half into the market open. We have no high volume top wicks. We have no incredible selling. We have no strength by the sellers. We had a blast off opening session after the overnight, and still the best we can do on the short side is a small little top tick that can't even break the 50 Fibonacci. Instead of thinking like a retail mind saying this can't keep going up, I need a short, think about, holy crap, this is incredibly strong for the buyers. I need a long. I need to buy the dip. I need to look for higher prices. The selling will be there unless you just happen to get lucky and you short the moment the sellers start to hit hard. The sellers are going to show their strength if they're there. If we have a bunch of sellers ready to take this market back down, the sellers they'll show that. And we just put another high in the day and buy a tick and going into another high. Up and away. Up and away. Nice Tennessee ball fan. Well done, buddy. 30,800 still gonna absorb and go higher. This looks like absorption for higher prices. No shorting. You just went out on sale. Nice. No pullbacks today. Not yet. We may get a pullback into the afternoon, but instead of guessing, let's go for volume. High volume spikes will lead to short position. Me personally, I'm not taking any shorts. So once they absorb to 790, off to the races. You're holding two? Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. Looks like absorption. Looks like absorption. S&P has already put in a new high. NASDAQ is about to follow suit. The higher the volume, the more likely we're going to reject. No volume, no rejection. At least no significant rejection. I am not going to take a payout today. I'm going to leave money in to build buffer. So I'm starting. Interesting. To start copy trading heavily going forward. There we go. There's a big green and blast off, baby. There we go. There's Gil. Blast off green moves, baby. Up and away. No shorting. Everyone's looking for a double top, triple top. Think about the way retail thinks and think about the way the market's supposed to move. Stop thinking about the market in terms of just red and green crap and think about it as orders. Who's controlling the book? That's why volume is so important. That is why volume is so important. Any questions about anything? We have 26 minutes until London close. First target of 30,590. Any thoughts? Let me switch over to the June contracts. 590. Yeah, I like that. What is that? That's Friday. That's Thursday's high. That officially undoes that big that will officially undo the big sell off from Thursday. I can see it. I can see it. What a massive freaking move this is. Until then, though, just volume, man. Track volume. The higher the volume, the more likely to be that. Need to read up on more volume. There you go. I encourage you to read The Complete Guide to Volume Price Analysis by Anna Koling. Fantastic book. It's what led me to today. If you're looking for a prop firm, of course, I am an affiliate of Take Profit Trader because I believe in it. 40% off all evaluations plus a free funded account. Free funded account when you pass your evaluation. It's the lowest cost of entry of any prop firm, plus you get daily payouts, no hassle payouts. Not once have they ever questioned any payout or asked for evidence. They just give you your money. Take Profit Trader is what Apex could have been years ago
Not just because
if they stopped with their stupid rules. If they weren't so greedy.
Spain has a clear pattern of the way they play. And as I say, they just not get the possession to get the ball, but also hurt the team. And it's incredible because then when you go with one, there's a magic players just leaving the last bit of it. Rafi Yamal, Nico, Dani Olmo, Ferran, Oyarzabal.
What's the move? Long. No shorting by the dip.
So it's incredible. And
No shorting by the dip. We are in a breakout here after a lot of consolidation. The sellers had their chance to break the 50 and move lower. They failed.
As well. Really can't wait for this one today. It's first of one of the favourites from reigning European champions Spain hoping to make a run right the way to the final.
what they say in Spain. There's power. Especially moves is fast. Easy on the players.
Love that. Thanks to Javier Bardem, starring in a new series, Cape Fear, that's now streaming on TV. There he is.
Find myself doing more scalping than holding when trading micros. When I'm trading 3 micros and get a good profit of 50 points, I'm always selling. I just don't want to hold and risk losing everything. It would be wise to jump to a single mini if I'm wanting to scalp. Well, here's the deal. There are stories out there of people who only have like a 30% win rate, making insane amounts of money. Do you know why? It's because they are putting on their positions based on a strategy. They're setting a 300 or 400 point target profit. They're setting a tighter stop, and they walk away from the computer. That's it. There's no moving anything. And they either hit their 300 or 400 point target profit, or they stop out for a measly 10 point loss, or even maybe a 10-point win. And then all it takes is 1 or 2 of those massive trades to pay for everything else. They're not moving stops. They're not freaking out and taking 30-point profits and cutting themselves short. How many times do you take a 50-point profit and leave another 200 or 300 points on the table, especially in this environment? So obviously you have to have a mechanism to enter successfully and accurately and consistently. That goes without saying. Here's what I would encourage you to do if you want to find something. Get yourself a side chart on TradingView. And every time you close your entry, go over your side chart on TradingView and plot where you close your entry and see where it would have gone, and then track that. And most of the time, are you leaving money on the table, or are you doing yourself a favor by closing? Here we go. So the best way to go about doing it, and the best way to catching trends, is simply just to set your target profit, close the brokerage, and walk away. Try it for one trade. Try it for a week. See what happens. If you're still losing a bunch of money, then you have a entry problem. I mean, heck, there was a guy that just canceled because he was getting blasted trying to buy the dip in the most bullish market we had in 3 months. And that's because there's a severe entry problem. If you're losing on longing this market, you have a severe issue on this. You're not reading things properly. So if you're just losing money left and right doing that, then you've got an entry problem, and then we could figure that out. But if you're starting to make a bunch of money all of a sudden, well, we figured out the problem is you're cutting your legs out from under you. Anyway, new blast off, new high of the day, up and away. 20 minutes till London. The average starter home in the United States now costs $1 million in the United States, according to Zillow. The average home, yep, $1 million. I'm literally going to have to build like 3 starter homes on my property for my kids, and then I graduate them to larger homes. Crazy. All right, Matt, what you got, buddy? I missed your comment there. Apparently my audio wasn't live and behind. Do you have any comments on my trade plan? 478 entry, stop at 442 is from what I can tell. And you're setting a target profit at 537. I think you're cutting yourself off. The entry is fantastic. We have no high volume spike. Of course, that's the one bad thing about target profit is that you can't account for high volume spike when you're not as a chart. I think you're cutting your target profits are too tight. But I mean, the fact that you are buying at the high here, that's okay, I guess. I've seen worse.
Christian Pulisic at the US ready to face Australia on Friday, and we have on-site coverage from Seattle. Our crew of Americans will be at Pier 62 the day before the match to soak up the atmosphere and start the build-up. So, for more from the latest with the US camp, let's hear from Jenny Taft.
Today, the U.S. men's national team will officially turn page and be back to training at Great Park in Irvine, California.
So just analyzing our entries today. What to buy here? Just held my stop loss and would have gotten take profit here, but we did trail it. Didn't get much. Good for this long, and then try to short this back. This RSI extension here. Get a dip. This was the trade of the day right here. Should have just held it. Instead, it came back to dip, take us out, and then swing back to the upside. So, but we were in the right direction. I mean, just pretty much break even on it.
Using it for easy for entry. Obviously,
2 setups.
I want to hold for hours. Where could I look? Longer time frames, and you have to be more patient. You have to realize when you want to hold trades for longer, when you want to hold longer time frame trades, you're not going to be trading every day. It's a trade-off. Yes, you're.
I also got broke even at here on my NQ. That my NASDAQ trade here. Took a NASDAQ position here, broke even. Just if I'd have just held it, I would have gotten all that because NASDAQ eventually took the buy side liquidity higher. So I just 2 on SPX and 1 on NASDAQ. All break evens.
The only exception to that rule is that if you want to trade multiple different names, if you want to analyze other names, cool, but you're done on that name, and that takes a little more discipline.
In our next phase, I enjoyed plenty of success in recent years, including a triumph at Euro 2024. Well, on stage against
My kids trade. They're learning about investing. I'm teaching them investing first, and then we'll get into trading at a later age. My son tried to trade, too busy. He's got a lot going on. My oldest son. What are the signs that the price action like this will continue to break down? High volume spikes. A dollar's worth of finish, yeah.
They just increase the confidence. So I would say they need to be so that even though the games are not our strength, but I think that even though it's very much for us.
Time now for Jump on the Bandwagon, sponsored by Lay's. Carly, are you jumping on this same bandwagon and being a favorite? I've been on this favorite, man. I mean, they played some incredible ball, beautiful ball, and just the way that they had the ball.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, great. Higher time frame, lower position. Last night I slept through it. Very good.
But I think we still have a team has done so basically just thinking the best out of the groups. Without losing the essence of the ticket tack. They still have the ticket tack. Specific certain moments rather than in the past, they were more controlling the game to like slow you down and then hurt you. So I think they have big chances to
Tiago, how do they handle the tag of being favorites?
well, they love to be in that kind of situation because being champions in each
What's the time frame? The opening range, first hour, 60 minutes.
and us. Team, so for us, and as a mission as well. So have team that we want for the back to create. It's best for us size.
Playing on damn moderate. He's probably playing golf. Hello, this is my first full day trading with you. Welcome, V. I've found you all searching for information on future trading using GEX0DD options data. Great community. Thank you. Well, thank you for being here. Appreciate you. If you have any questions about anything, let me know about data, GEX, or otherwise. Speaking of GEX, where's my boy Disciple? And where's Craig today? Dan's gone. Phil's gone. Craig, they're all on vacation. And my new rooster is trying to learn how to crow in a sound. You know, the rooster, there's a new rooster trying to learn how to crow. It sounds like an old 1990s toy that the speaker is broken. And like the speaker's all garbage. All right.
2024 Ballon d'Or with Rodri Stay. Makes his 63rd international appearance. Barcelona's 23-year-old Pedri is their brilliant creative playmaker. We'll get Thiago's thoughts on how they're going to set up this formation a little bit later, but for more of this management, let's put on that party. We're in the stadium in Atlanta. John Strong is with Stu Holden.
It's another one of these really interesting matchups in the group stage.
Now that we've broken over the opening range and holding it with no volume spike, indicates that we are simply going to go higher.
Just came for one of a kind.
So let's just getting ready for the World Club game. Spain is playing in half an hour.
Did you call me earlier?
Debit spreads are wonderful. Maybe not today, but still wonderful. They are. I do not have the coins to sell call in this markets. No. Selling calls in this market is look, another breakout, absorption higher, no short. Not until you get a high volume spike. Save yourself the stress. Do not short anything. Do not short anything. And we'll make a lot of money. That's right, Benjamin. That's right, buddy. No shorting. You the man, noob noob. Well done, buddy. You can still make profits on CDSs, although the cap people get smoked. Yeah. Just trailing this. That's the best way to do it, Westside. This is perfect. Perfect price action to trail. If you like that kind of price action, and if you like that kind of management, this is a perfect price action to trail. Tomorrow starts my copy trading on 5 accounts on TPT. That's the only, if I had to criticize TPT, it'd be nice if they did 20 accounts, although they would put them out of business if they did that, but I'm only doing 5 accounts. TPT can't have people discovering the 3 Cs. Yeah. That's my biggest fear, is that someone's gonna wipe them out with some 3 Cs. Still going. This might be a dumb question, but how do you tell the difference between accumulation to go higher and distribution to go lower? Very good question. Pattern of the price action and volume spikes. Where the price action occurs. So, do we have any lower lows is question number 1. So let's take a look at my little segment tool here. What are these pivots? Every time I see a pivot, let's put a line, starting with the bottom. Do we have any lower lows? No. I'll answer for you. The answer is no, we have no lower lows. So that's indication number 1, that this is not distribution. Number 2, do we have any major high volume spikes? We have one moderate volume spike there. So then once I see the volume spike, my eyes go to the price action. What was the result of that volume spike? Aggressively green candle that never even tried to top tick to fill back down. If I see a candle like this that's very green, especially going into a prior high with volume, and then the next follow-up candle is an engulfing red, that is a liquidity sweep, which mostly means distribution for lower prices. So we didn't get an engulfing red candle that engulfed the prior green. Even though we had a high volume spike, we had an engulfing green followed by a very, very minor red on the 1-minute chart that kept on going higher. So that to me is absorption for higher prices. We have this little group of 4 that never put in a lower low and put in what we call an ascending triangle, which is a bullish pattern. An ascending triangle is price action that has a flat top with a increasing bottom. That is an ascending triangle, not a bullish wedge that some people think. A bullish wedge looks like this, which is buyer exhaustion. And the premise is the buyers keep on buying until finally they get tighter, they exhaust, and then we break lower. An ascending triangle, not an ascending wedge, is a bullish pattern which shows absorption. Buyers buy, sellers hit, buyers buy, sellers hit, and then the sellers start to weaken, and then we absorb all the supply that's sitting here, and then bleh, we run off. So that's the patternized price action part of things. So we have no lower lows, we have no engulfing liquidity sweeps, we have no high volume top ticks, We're grinding into a prior high with no rejection. And now this candle breaks above the prior supply right here. And once we break above the prior supply right there, now we stick to it. We use it as an SR flip, support resistance flip, SR flip. Prior support, now new resistance, or I'm sorry, prior resistance, now new support. Bottoming off of it, all with low volume spikes to absorb supply that's sitting right here. Because in my mind, we have a supply sitting right there, an order block supply that we need to absorb, and which we've done, and we broke above and go higher. So as long as the market is putting in higher highs with no high volume top hooks or engulfing liquidity sweeps, this is absorption. They're absorbing prices to go higher. The more volatile the price action, the least likely it's absorption. The more volatility on the red side, the more likely it's distribution for sell-off back down. But if it's just, that's why they say don't short a dull market, because dull markets typically have absorption to the upside. And that's what we've done. We've absorbed into prior supply. There's no high volume top ticks to indicate any kind of sell order sitting at this area. And now we've absorbed to go higher. And the first time I see one or two things. Number one, a high volume spike down in this area. Number two, large green to break higher and then immediate top tick red can engulf the green. And then that's when we'll come back down. If I don't see either one of those two things, then I'm not shorting anything. And I'm certainly not closing out any long positions. Stuff. You are welcome. You are welcome. Absorption for higher. So we'll see if we can get a high volume top tick to see if we actually present an idea. So here's a large breakout green candle. Do we get a volume spike? Do we get an engulfing top week? If the answer to that is no, then we're going to continue to go higher. If we do get that, then we may have an area possible for a possible short position or close out longs. But until then, I'm not closing out any long positions, and I'm certainly not looking for any shorts. The pitfall that the retail trader falls into is they tell themselves this can't possibly keep on going, so I'm going to short it. And that is a destructive thought. They are shorting strength, and you do not want to short strength. In fact, you don't want to start shorting until it looks weak, not shorting strength. It's the opposite thinking. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, baby. I removed my first target at the original target, waiting for 590, the trailing stop at the rest. Nice math. Very cool. Any questions about any of that? Plus, we have London close right here. Beautiful and stress-free. When you follow the metrics of your system, things do become stress-free, at least relatively speaking. Why does London close matter? That is when the London markets close, and now all eyes are on the United States. Because we have three main markets open throughout any given trading day: Asia, London, and of course, New York session. And London closes right at 10:30, which means all active trading is now only on the United States. Usually causes some sort of volatility, not much, but it's definitely something to be aware of. Don't know. Thoughts on so no. I didn't even read the rest of your question. Here's the deal about that, Mr. Sampson. SPX is now trading 75.63. You want a 75.90 CCS, 0 DT. You're not going to get much credit for that. So it's going to be moderate credit for too much risk. Now, we could reject here and sell back off, sure, but that thinking right now, the only reason you're asking that question is because you're thinking this can't possibly go up and tap 75.90. You're thinking this can't keep going. There's no indication of supply right now. There's no indication of top take. Now, most likely, yeah, you'll probably make money on that. However, we are in a situation here where a big volume spike just happened. We're in a situation here of breakout. Everybody's trying to short this market. Everybody is astonished by what's happening. And that's only going to fuel this higher. So we could have a breakout 5% day, 4% day, and at which point you're going to get wrecked trying to pick up $1.50 credit. So no, until you get the signs that we have hit supply, no. How many people here did you think were cool that end up going insane? Officially, I would probably say 4. Now we've had people that are just not who I thought they were, sure. But actually, like, holy crap, this person's nuts, about 4 people. And they're either no longer active in the community or they're not here anymore. The worst person by far that I've ever met, not only in this community, but probably in my life, was Bet. No, Soul was cool. Me and him butted heads. We were just not two alphas. You can't, like, me and Soul, like, his personality, we're just not two people that can be in the same room together. But we ended up texting and carrying on conversation. He's fine. It was his personality clash with me and him. He's fine though. But Bet though was the worst person I've ever met in my life. Yeah, Vet throwbacks. Yeah. I don't remember Lil B. Who's that? I don't remember that. Don't remember that either. Yeah. Yeah, volume spike with a large red engulfing candle. Looks like a news posting, but I remember that is a story tree. I don't know. I don't know a lot. I know a lot of what he said is complete nonsense, and I've had people message me saying, "Hey, I've been following this guy for a while," and avoid him. But yeah, horrible person. Everything he told me was nonsense. Horrible, horrible person. Inside and out. I don't even know if he still has a community anymore. I don't know when I started his own community, but you're one of them. Yeah. Get back home. Glad you came back to your stuff. Promised our camp is earning on a certain day. Never saw them. Yeah. Telling you, man. I've had people in here that were weird or insane or whatever you want to call it, that use the only person that was like, holy crap, this person, an evil, evil person, like awful, awful person. Avoid him at all costs. I don't even know if he's still active. I doubt he's even still active. There's no way he still has a community, but if he does, avoid him. Glad I haven't made his list yet. Dum, dum, dum. Was he claiming to be a military veteran? Yeah, he said he was a helicopter pilot. Yeah. Yeah. Which I never substantiated those claims. I don't know if they were true or not, but 30,510, retesting of the prior high. Nice little high volume top tick there. If you go to the 5-minute, red coming on down to retest. So now, ask that, Mr. Sampson. Now you might have some precedents and start looking for a CCS. Over your daily goal, might shut it down. No, you must absolutely shut it down, math. If you're over your daily goal, you just took a fantastic trade. The worst thing you could do is sit here and look for more. Shut it down. Go enjoy your day. You've purchased your freedom for the day. When I sign off, I'll get you and Tennessee Law taken care of on your TBT accounts. Is there reason to believe that he did have stolen valor? I haven't heard that. I wouldn't even talk about that stuff. Interesting. Everyone's just a P-value. Look at it. Yeah, so yeah, I have a lot of qualms with that too. But all right, y'all, there's a beautiful bounce off the retest of the morning high, the 60-minute range. We had a high volume top tick off of there that's instantly defended off the opening range high. Is why it's so difficult to short anything in this market, which is why I don't recommend shorting. So, any questions about anything? Got your volume spike. Now we are waiting for an entry. I personally am not waiting for another entry. I'm about to sign off. I've already got my trades in for the session. This is about the time I stop trading. You start getting into the late morning, early afternoon time frame where things become erratic. Trends become a little choppier. Price actions start getting a little wicky. And I don't start coming back until about 2 p.m. or so, give or take, if I do even come back. So all I can really say from here is looking for high volume indications to indicate any kind of supply and pullback after a very long bull trend. Of course, no shorting. If anything, if you are gonna get a short position, it'll probably come in late afternoon. So. Just close out most of my swing long, 5x nice majestic. This 10:05 became obsolete, yeah. When I look for the 3Cs on higher time frame, I'm having trouble reading the volume. At least think or swim. What would be a good 3C entry? I don't look like. I mean, same thing. If you go to the daily chart, look at the daily chart. I mean, this right here, we have two high volume spikes here, top wicks, or I'm sorry, bottom wicks, and then now we have a triggered high that goes up. But you can go all the way down to like the 60-minute chart and see the same thing. I mean, look at that volume spike right there at the 12 o'clock time frame. Or even again right here on Friday, June 5th. So the only thing you need to realize when applying the high volume spikes on 3Cs is that it's truly a high volume spike. Don't misread just an uptick in volume as a truly high volume spike. It needs to be like, holy crap, that's an outlier. Like that's higher than we've had in weeks. And that right there will keep you from overtrading. It'll keep you into 1 or 2 trades a week, or even 1 or 2 trades every 2 weeks instead of a trade every week. Just you can't be looking for a trade every day if you're going to do that style of trading, which I think is a great thing. It's not a bad thing at all. It's just you have to be able to be patient enough to take advantage of such system. So, you're welcome, Benjamin. All right, I'm going to call this a day. If you have any questions about anything, let me know. If anything substantial changes in the market, of course, I'll peek back in. Otherwise, I am done for the day. Tomorrow starts a day of copy trading again. Tier 2, keep an eye out for an entry coming up soon as I get deeper and deeper into my filters, my screeners. Americans now have to pay $300 billion to open the Strait of Hormuz that was never closed. So, all right, y'all, have a good rest of the day. I will see you all bright and early tomorrow morning. If you're on the YouTube stream, come hang out with us once again on Wednesday, or consider joining the community. In my opinion, the best trading community out there, as we focus on real education, like-minded individuals, and avoiding all that typical internet nonsense. Until next time, I'm out. See you.
Place is incredible. It's where I get all your office supplies. It's everything in one place. It's like Schwab. Everything investors need, all in one place. So again, yeah, Schwab, they can do everything. Invest, trade, get full service wealth management.
Invest your way with Schwab. Every cooler needs a drink that's refreshingly bubbly and one that's citrusy and bright. Talk about a dynamic duo. Josh Seller's Sea Swept and Sea Swept Sparkling, wine that's refreshing the rules.
We've had hundreds of traders do this, and they almost always can get clarity on what the real issue is. And so this is the diagnosis part of it. For traders that are not consistently profitable, we want them to start with the smallest win they can possibly get. And that's usually one playbook. The reason for that is
This man consistently makes 7 and 8 figure traders. Introducing from S&B Capital, Jeff Holden.
the big thing for our goals as a trader is to take your P&L curve, and it needs to look something like that. You have this process that you have to use in order to get to a much more effective solution. And even then, you're going to run into friction. What do you do when you experience that friction? Well, ultimately, what winds up happening is
Jeff is the head of trader development. And in this Chart Financials episode, he breaks down the exact framework that he uses day in, day out with all the traders at S&B Capital.
all the research showed if you try and work on two goals at the same time, you're probably not going to get any of them very far. So we encourage everybody to start with the most important one. So in this case, it would be that one.
You will learn the mental framework necessary to become an elite trader. All this and so much more in this special episode of Chart Fanatics. How traders are starting to utilize AI within their trading. A lot of people describe in trading that click moment. Would you say that a lot of people are looking for that one thing? Do you find there's maybe a bit of friction or hardship when you see traders first start to implement this?
So we had to look at this model from our best traders that are developing the fastest. How are they doing that? What we found is
Welcome back, everyone, to Chart Fanatics, the go-to channel for all of the very best trading strategy and concept breakdowns with some of the very best traders in the world. Talking which today, we're back in New York. And today I'm missing out on the opportunity to be on the S&B floor. The energy is unreal when we were there last time, but we had to do this to be able to do Chart Fanatics. So you already kind of got a hint of who we may have with us today, but today we're going to go through the process and I'll let him explain it himself. But it is the one and only, the head of development, the one and only, the head of trader development, Jeff Holden.
There is happy to be here.
It's my absolute pleasure. I know we got to do our roundtable just over a year ago.
Can't believe it's been a year.
I know.
Crazy.
It really has, but it's been a crazy time in the markets as well. And we've been meaning to do this for a while, so I'm so happy to be here. Again, missing the energy on the floor. We'll make sure we'll give insane value today. What is your plan for today's session?
Well, so in our trader development meetings, we really think about things over a 2-week period. So when you asked us to do this show, we had to think about what could we do that usually takes about 2 weeks and synthesize it down into about 45 minutes that we can really add value to everybody. And the model that we use on the desk is something we call the momentum model. And it's different than what a lot of people think. So we're going to walk through the field from and in development, there are little subsets that we really want to make sure we're hitting appropriately. But at the end of it, it's a model that we usually teach for 2 weeks. We're going to try